All right, let's get right into it. We are in the middle of an arms race, but it's not like any we've ever seen before. This isn't about tanks or missiles. Nope. This is a flat-out global war for hardware, for the smartest people on the planet, and for complete and total dominance in the world of AI. You know, this line from Elon Musk just perfectly captures the vibe right now. It is a brutal, all-or-nothing mindset that's fueling this whole thing. In this race, there is no silver medal. You don't get a pat on the back for building the second biggest data center. You either win, or you might as well not have shown up. So, what does this new kind of war actually look like? Well, victory here isn't measured by capturing territory. It's measured in teraflops and terabytes. It's a sprint, an all-out sprint of just unbelievable speed and scale. And it's all being fueled by two things: raw, brute force computational power and absolutely massive amounts of data. And here's the thing, this race is pretty much governed by one powerful idea: winner take all. Think about it for a second. Once you've spent the billions to train a massive AI model, you can deploy it for all sorts of tasks incredibly fast. But who is going to start a new project with the second or third best model? Nobody. And that reality, right there, is what's driving this frantic, multi-billion-dollar race to be number one. Now, this isn't just some abstract idea floating around in code. Oh no. This war has a very real, very physical front line. We're talking about massive data centers, true behemoths, being built at a pace that is just, it's hard to even wrap your head around. And the philosophy that's pushing this whole construction boom, it comes from one single, really powerful idea in AI research. And that idea is something called the bitter lesson. It was coined by an AI researcher named Richard Sutton, and it's fascinating. For decades, right, researchers tried to create these really elegant, complex, almost handcrafted algorithms. But the bitter lesson they learned the hard way was that raw, brute force scale, just throwing more and more and more data and computing power at simple algorithms, it just wins. It consistently wins. Which brings us to this number, 122. What could that possibly be? Well, it's the number of days it took Elon Musk to pull off something that a lot of experts said was, well, frankly, they said it was impossible. In just 122 days, his team went from a complete standing start to building a colossal data center they call Colossus 1. This is the bitter lesson in the real world, applied directly to hardware. It's a perfect case study in just brute force scaling, putting raw power and speed above everything else to win the race. But look, the hardware, that's only half the story, because on the software side of things, a totally different shockwave is hitting. It's this wave of creative destruction, and it's literally happening overnight. I mean, just look at these numbers. It's wild. The cost to use xAI's new coding model, Grok code, is, well, it's jaw-dropping. We're talking up to 15 times cheaper on input tokens, that's the data you feed into it, than a competitor like Claude 3's Sonnet, and it's 10 times cheaper on the output it gives you back. This isn't just a price drop, folks. This is a complete price collapse. So here's the crucial takeaway. This price collapse, it's doing two things at once. It's demonetizing these tools, and it's democratizing them. It's making them accessible to everyone. The kind of insane creative power that used to be locked away inside huge corporations with giant budgets, yeah, that's now becoming available to pretty much anyone with an internet connection. And you have to ask yourself, right, when you combine that kind of immense power with a cost that's basically zero, what's the inevitable result? What happens when the entire foundation of an industry gets shaken to its core? Well, you get claims like this: Photoshop is officially dead. Now, I know, it sounds like crazy hyperbole, but the technology that's making people say this, it's very, very real. And it is absolutely threatening to make one of the most famous pieces of software in history totally obsolete. So say hello to Google's Nano Banana. Forget everything you know about layers and masks and all those complicated tools. Now you just describe what you want in plain English. Make the sky look like a sunset. Put a hat on that dog. It gets it. It understands context, it keeps things consistent, and it costs less than 4 cents an image. All those years you might have spent learning a tool like Photoshop, they're being made irrelevant by the simple ability to just describe what you want to see. Okay, so let's bring this all together. Why does any of this actually matter to you? Because this AI arms race isn't happening in some far-off lab. It is actively reshaping your career, your perception of reality, and honestly, the entire structure of the world we live in. For one, it completely changes the game for our careers. In the past, right, you built a career by mastering a single complex tool, whether it was Photoshop or a programming language. But today, that tool you mastered might be useless next year. The skill that's going to last isn't mastering the tool anymore. It's finding a problem you actually care about and then learning how to use this whole arsenal of constantly changing AI to solve it. But this goes so far beyond our jobs. This tech is triggering a huge societal shift. When you have AI that can create perfectly realistic images and videos from just a sentence, our basic trust in what we see just dissolves. That old idea, seeing is believing, it's over. It's out the window, period. So let's just sit with that for a moment. In a world where any photo, any video, any piece of audio can be faked perfectly, what happens to our shared reality? And that leads us to this one last, pretty provocative thought. As our trust in human systems, in the media, even in our own senses, just keeps breaking down, will society eventually start looking for an alternative? Could we actually reach a point where people willingly, freely vote to be governed by an optimized, accountable AI, seeing it not as some sci-fi threat, but as a real hope for fairness beyond all our human flaws? That is the world this arms race is building.